You can't stop what happens in my head. Till I'm dead, I'll be singing.
I can fantasize about whatever I want.
You can't stop what happens.
How's your girlfriend feel like
in
this?
my head.
Or feel about this?
I was thinking about her too.
Uh-huh.
Until I'm dead.
I think
Fuck.
hey,
Hey is what horses eat.
hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Okay, how do I very new to this. Oh wait, I can't see you.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Sounds like a you problem.
Is that my fault?
Check on Discord, like click user settings and go through everything and make sure that they're set up correctly. Well, pretty good. How are you going?
Pretty good. How's League of Legends?
Oh, it's fucking horrible. Don't ever play that god-forsaken fucking game, okay? Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, well, you've heard correctly. Whoever informed you of that informed you with due diligence because they were absolutely correct.
All right. So you do what are we talking about? How do you want to start this?
You messaged me.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
man.
Okay, yeah, so here's the...
Always with the power plays. All right.
I'm like when Trump shakes people's hands and he tries to rip them forward, you know? And try to
Right,
throw it off balance, yeah.
right. I know.
So here's kind of what I'm interested in, I guess. So
Okay.
you have a real life history of being pretty, we'll say edgy. I think it's fair, yeah?
That's fair.
And then you have kind of an online history of being pretty edgy. I think it's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you're kind of sort of transitioning into, maybe, we'll see, I guess, into doing more online content.
Yeah. I mean, I make a YouTube video or something every week or two, approximately.
But now it seems like the public backlash, it feels different this time. I think a lot of people's assumptions would be that somebody of your background would be like, oh, public shit doesn't bother me. I don't care. I'm invulnerable to all of it. Yeah, I guess, how do you feel about everything?
I'm not invulnerable. I feel like you're not invulnerable, right?
I mean, none of us truly are, but I'm pretty thick-skinned against it at this point. I've been doing this for like 12 years, so.
Okay.
But I'm outside the norm. A lot of people have trouble with, at any level, like dealing with online stuff. It's a pretty inhuman thing to deal with. We're not used to seeing strangers making personal, hateful comments about us online constantly.
Right. Yeah. We're not evolved to deal with that. I'm definitely not invulnerable at all. It gets to me. It's not so much the comments themselves, but the sheer volume of it. I think what bothers me is just the non-stop stimulus.
Okay.
And then yeah, the hate is disturbing. Death threats are disturbing. Honestly, I think fans might scare me more than haters.
Why do you say that?
Because I don't know, just being worshipped freaks me out.
Okay, that's fair. What is your process by which you go through and read online comments?
Just compulsively. I don't have a process.
Let me phrase that more casually. Do you like obsessively read every comment about you, like on your YouTube, Twitter, and everything else? Or is it just like somebody links you something and you read it, or?
I obsessively read every comment because there's not that many. So like there's right. Like I mean, on YouTube, I still only get like 50 comments a day or something. It's not like a endless flood.
Yeah.
With the cuties thing, when the cuties review came out, I was getting a comment every 3 seconds or something. I assume that's what it's like for you, right? It's like, it must just be constant.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, it's actually possible to read every single comment or tweet for me still at this point. Maybe not advisable, but it is possible.
Were you doing that during the cuties fallout?
No. I made a couple of my friends become mods, and I was like, anybody who talks about killing me, finding me, doxing me, whatever, ban them, and like everybody else, like whatever. It doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Because then I felt like I had to read them because I was scared. It wasn't even curious. It was like I need to know how serious these like neo-Nazi like psychos are about like finding me and killing me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're hitting that overwhelming point again, or what's different now? I guess you made it seemed like the impression.
No, it was horrible. I couldn't handle it then either. I completely fell apart. I was not in good shape at all. Now I feel like yeah, I feel exhausted.
For reference, when was that? How long ago was that?
That was a year ago.
Okay. Did you like change?
I was banned for 4 months right after. So like I kind of had to take a big step back because I had no channel anymore.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah. Do you feel like you have changed anything in the terms of the way you approach online comments, or are you just like, fuck it, I haven't really thought about it that much and we'll see what happens?
I don't think I've changed anything. My goal is to like have a set number of times I check comments. Also, I think when you're like a smaller channel, you have to interact a lot.
For sure.
I think it's more expected, I think.
It can be beneficial to growth, right? If somebody's got 1,000 subs and you're commenting on their channel, they might respond to you. Yeah.
Right. And like I still want to respond to comments, but I feel like after a certain point of like inertia, like I won't have to.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like figuring out how much I should, like how much of that is good for me versus bad for me.
Okay, that's fair.
Do you ever respond to comments? How do you do this?
I fight with people on Twitter, which is fun for me, and I mainly Twitter, and then I interact a lot with my chat while I'm streaming. YouTube comments are a little bit beyond me at this point, because you just don't have the time to dig through and respond. I'll read through them, at least the top-rated comments on my videos, because it's good to keep a thumb on like the pulse of what the people want. Right. More importantly, though, I think it's important at some point to make considerations everybody overlooks this, but not to optimize for content or for engagement or whatever, but to optimize for mental health. Because there might be only so many,
Okay, you're saying you fight with people on Twitter for fun.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. It's a little my engagement is kind of strange because I super love conflict. Like there are like videos of me like being in a debate room where like everybody's booing at me and shit, and I thrive off it. I just really like that. I don't know, that's kind of weird. So it's a little bit different, the engagement that I have than most people. So it's not something to model yourself after. Is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
But I have a lot of streamer friends. I've talked to a lot of people, so I have a pretty good feel of like what the feeling is like when it comes to interacting with people on the internet and how absolutely difficult that could be.
But you're saying it's not difficult for you?
No, for just random reasons, but it's not relevant to this conversation.
Okay, I feel like it's relevant.
Well,
you're saying that we're like different species. Though you're saying that
there's probably things that happen to us in childhood that make us the way we are, and I can't tell you why. If I played a different set of video games, or had a different set of interactions with my parents, or had school, I don't know why. I'm just for some reason
it makes you're invulnerable.
I don't know if I say invulnerable, but I'm super not as bothered by online stuff. The way I can tell you how I think about it in my head, but that isn't enough to think about it. It's something you have to emotionally feel, I guess. But my feeling is that I know who I am. I like who I am. I know how I gather information, how I do research, and I'm super confident in all of that. If somebody wants to correct me on something, I can engage with them in a critical manner. If you're using like a personal insult against me, my child, or anything in my history, it's because you know you're wrong, and that makes me feel good. That's my intellectual engagement with it. But you have to feel that at an emotional level, because I can tell you like, oh, well, if somebody's doing extremely personal attacks on you, just know that that's because they have nothing else to say. But it's one thing to think that, it's another thing to feel that,
Yeah, I don't feel that at all.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the things people say about me are probably true.
Well, you should qualify that.
Except one.
Okay, all right.
Everything except one thing. No, I don't mean like that I'm like a sick person. I don't care. I actually don't care about that as much. It's more like what gets under my skin the most? I think being called a liar.
A liar about like research and politics, or a liar about your own personal feelings, or a liar about events that have transpired, or what?
Yeah, so if I say something that remotely contradicts, okay, so like in the Vaush video, a lot of people said I was explaining my mindset going into the debate with him about his comment about child porn, how he thinks it should be legal. And then in the debate, I said, like, yeah, I understand this is part of a broader point you were making. And they said, okay, well, so why would you, if you already knew that, then why are you saying in the video that you thought he thought it would be legal? Like, basically just saying, someone called me like a snake or a liar for that discrepancy. When the truth is, I still think he thinks child porn should be legal. I was just being super courteous in the debate. I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to debate you on positions you're not willing to stand behind. If you're changing your position now, then that's fine. And
sure,
so I was saying,
it's a
like,
difference between, I understand what you're saying. So like if I'm engaging with somebody, and let's say I've heard them in the past say something like black people don't deserve any help from the government. When I have a debate with that person or argument, I might ask like, so what do you think about like black people and welfare programs? Rather than trying to attack them with a prior position, I'll just ask them the question, give them a chance to clarify, and then move on from there.
Sure.
So it doesn't seem like I'm
if they say, I think black people should get help from the government, then you can either say, well, that's not what you said last time. Or and if it's the well-worn thing like it is with Vaush, then they're going to say like, well, yeah, that clip was totally taken out of context. Nobody understands what it means except my most ardent fans. And then there's no point in talking about it. It's not going to be an interesting conversation. It's just trying to throw it in their face. So yeah, getting called a liar for stuff like that pisses me off. Yeah, lying about my I think getting called a pedophile bothers me because it implies that I'm a liar.
Sure.
Like if I was a pedophile, I would tell you.
Well, if you were a pedophile, you wouldn't tell anybody then. That's the problem, right?
I think I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Why
Maybe
not?
you would, but
That's what I'm saying. That's
yeah, but nobody knows that, right? We have to just we have to go by what we have dealt with other humans, right?
But that's all other humans. That's
So-
all I have, Destiny, is that I would, or Steven, that I would tell you.
Sure, but nobody will. So here's the problem, right? Is
Yeah.
I can't exist in your mind, so I can only ascertain what you believe based on what you say, and I'm using templates of other humans as I talk to you to figure that out, right? We don't go up to anybody as a blank slate. We have all these other people in mind. You know, if somebody's coming running at me and they've got a knife drawn, I'm going to make a lot of assumptions about that person immediately, and they might just say like, well, I'm practicing for a play in public in front of you, or there's a million potential explanations, but my mind will jump to this person's running to stab me, or any other number of like things when we see people, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody, I think we said this before, and you understood this very quickly, which was nice. Sometimes I talk to a lot of fucking idiots. Okay, you'll get to know that more as you talk to more people. There's a lot of fucking stupid people. Okay, I said something before that breaking a social norm sometimes is a worrying thing, not because the social norm itself is important, but just the fact that you would break the social
willingness
norm.
to break social norms.
So when it comes to edgy content or content around pedophilia, of course, that's one of those like taboos. Like when it comes to pedophilia, all you should say publicly is, I want to kill and murder all pedophiles because they're all evil. And if you say anything besides that, people's brains
You're breaking a social norm.
Yeah, people's brains just flip. So then they'll immediately box you in as like a horrible person, and then they kind of will work from there. That's your starting point. At that point, you're already really far behind even getting to like normal human levels of respect. You're starting really, really, really far behind.
Do you think you're a trusting person?
No.
I don't think you are either. I get this impression that you don't trust people.
Yeah, I view people as I provide enough of a value to most people that I don't think they would fuck me over, because either one, I have leverage on them, or two, it's just not in their best interest to. And I kind of approach all of my interactions with people like that. But I've been fucked over.
This concerns me about our relationship.
I give you like about 6 to 8 months until you're like a far lefty calling me a pedophile on Twitter. Basically, it's about.
I'm worried about our relationship because of this. I sense this. I feel like you're running a bit hot and cold with me. Yeah, I want to confront you about it.
Okay, how am I running hot and cold with you?
I feel like sometimes you trust me, and in like moments, and then other times it feels like you don't trust me.
Oh, hold on. Let me be more clear in how I speak. I totally trust everything you say. You remind me of another friend I used to have. His name was Reckful, and you are very similar to him. And I think you're somewhat similar to me, and that I would trust you. But the way that we interact with people is very far off the norm, incredibly far off the norm.
But you just said you give me 5 months before I'm a far lefty calling you.
Well, it's like a half joke because every single person that I interact with online ends up like backstabbing.
The half of that's not a joke is what is hurting me.
Oh, well, I guess we'll see. To be fair, I don't know you that well yet, and I have to.
True, we only met 5 or 6 days ago.
Yeah, so it would be naive of me to be like, oh, I wholly and implicitly trust completely everything about you, right?
It would be naive.
Yeah.
Well, you have a lot of reasons not to trust me. And me aside, I feel like, and this is starting to happen with me, like I'm getting messages from people. There's people I reached out to, like for interviews or collaborations or whatever, you know, a month or two ago, and now they're responding. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry I missed your message.
Yeah, you'll get that, yeah.
I would love to talk to you now. And I don't care. I understand that.
It's
like,
the rapper equivalent of finding out you have a whole bunch of cousins after your first album goes like fucking double platinum or whatever. It's like, oh, bro, I remember you were best cousin. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And so there's a power differential between you and me, obviously.
True.
And professionally, right? Obviously, like, you launched my career, basically. I mean, we'll see if it has a career, but you've launched it. And I think it's up to me now to, you know, continue the trajectory. But we'll see if it's a rocket or if it's a golf ball. But whatever it is, you have sent it up in the air for sure.
Sure.
And that interpersonally, we can't like ignore that. Like and so I guess what bothers me is there's no way for me to convince you that I like you.
Oh, well, if it makes you feel better, one, I imagine you would. When I say you, I mean in general. I would understand that in time. But also, two, I don't really care that much. My main interest in you isn't really that you like me or don't like me. I just think you're a really interesting person. That's how I engage with it. That sounds a little bit cold. I don't mean it that way. If we end up becoming friends, or if you're like a cool person, that's fine,
it is cold.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's my. I've met with a. Listen, okay. You know the two biggest streamers I've launched on this platform. Okay, it's fucking Vaush and Hasan. All right, that's my history of launching big streamers.
You never keep them loose.
I have a really bad track record right now. Okay, but yeah. Yeah, it's just that, these aren't things that I wouldn't be overly concerned with, like, trying to convince me that you're genuine, because I don't think that anybody can maintain a lie for very long. Maybe in movies.
Right,
but in real life,
you're saying time was... You know the Afro Man song, She Won't Let Me Fuck?
No, but I imagine it
He says it was easy for him, but he made it hard for me.
Okay, sure.
I feel like I guess that's what Vaush did. He burned you. What happened? Do you want to tell me that? I know everybody knows. I know the broad strokes, but I guess
Sure. You really want to?
I want to know. I want to know in terms of like. Yeah, it's not. You're not cold. You're just. I
think I'm a really friendly person. Like behind the scenes and everything when I'm chatting with people.
You're protecting yourself.
I don't ever give anybody enough rope to hang me with, but I don't think I'm like protecting myself. Like, it's not like I'm so cold and like I won't make friends or blah blah blah. Truthfully, the reason why I don't.
But you're saying you're only interested in me is that I'm interesting, and I'm like that's cold.
You don't think?
I want to be Eminem and Dre, and you want to be like.
First of all, I can't be Dre. Okay, I've already had those arguments publicly before. Okay, but don't worry about that. That part will come later. Okay, we'll see. The coolest thing you can be is not boring. Okay, that's the most important thing in life, is don't be fucking boring. Okay,
I find that I don't like being called boring. A lot of people do call me boring because they know it'll piss me off, but I don't. I'm not worried
because I'm putting 100%.
That I'm not worried about.
Gotcha. Okay, well.
The idea of it being increasingly impossible to tell whether people like me or are using me, that feels sad.
True. I mean, like,
I dread that.
There are some metrics by which you can tell. So, like, people that are friends with you before you get any internet fame are probably pretty friendly, I would imagine. So, like, your current girlfriend or fiance or whatever you guys are.
Hold on, hang on to Shaylin.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that that's like an indication if somebody's friends with you beforehand. But I mean, otherwise, it's hard to ever truly, really know. I think you just kind of have to look at people's histories and see like who they hang with. Again, to quote like the big rapper meme, everybody's heard that line of like, "I'm still here with who I started with," right? There's a lot of people that once they go big, all of their new friends are just popular people. And you can see that in streamers and YouTubers too. All of their new friends are always just the most other popular people on the platform. So if you see somebody that like makes friendships and maneuvers through situations like that, then there's a good chance that they're doing it with you too, which is pretty common. A lot of people do that.
Like Stardust. Fucking backstabbing, social ladder climbing sociopath. No, I'm just kidding.
I think she's generally pretty cool.
I feel like if you're small, no, I think she's very genuine. I had a good time on her stream. I'm just saying if you're a very small streamer and you meet another one, then I feel like it's easier to be like, you know, it's harder to be like, are you using me? I didn't feel that, but I feel like increasingly I will become. Actually, I'm worried I'll stay naive, and then this whole thing's gonna just chew me up and spit me out, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. It depends on how you view it, I guess.
I am very naive.
Why?
I don't have a lot of friends.
How can you be
also.
naive but be aware of your naivety? How does that work?
I had a psychological evaluation that was used to allow me back into school when I got arrested for threatening to, you know, I didn't actually threaten to shoot those people. But
and during their eval, they said this person is very naive.
Yeah, I had to take a personality test called the MMPI. And it's something like 400 yes or no or true or false questions that are like designed to be interlinking so you can't lie on it and like fake a personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I scored. There's a scale that's paranoia and naivete. So, they're scored the same. Basically, it's like an inability to tell whether people are conspiring against you. So I think you and I both have the inability, but my assumption is they're not, and your assumption is that they are.
Well, I mean, I think I can tell. Jeez, everybody just starts with a low score. You should be able to tell if people are conspiring against you, no?
Oh, okay. Well, then I can't. Maybe you would score.
Why? Wait, why do you feel like you can't? You can't tell if somebody's being like super fake or whatever?
No, no, I don't think so. I'm not a good judge of when people are lying to me, or when I'm getting screwed over. And like looking back at some relationships or friendships I've had, I'm like, oh, that didn't make any sense. My entire view of that was completely wrong and insane.
Do you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No, but I know it's like a series of backstabbing betrayals, right?
Sure. There was a
Destiny and MrGirl, the gruesome.
There's a character called Littlefinger. He's a big schemer.
I need to get on well.
Don't ever watch Game of Thrones because the ending is
yeah, that's the kind of
worst.
put me off of it.
Yeah, it is probably one of the worst contributions humanity has made to the universe. Like it's like
okay,
atomic bombs, Holocaust, and then Game of Thrones season 8 is a really close third.
Okay,
okay,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah. So Littlefinger says he's a schemer guy, and he says, this is going to sound really edgy, okay? But I promise I'm making a not quite as edgy point. But he says, anytime I'm trying to figure out somebody's motivations, I try to think of like, how could they like do the worst against me, basically? Or if you put somebody in the worst light, do their actions still line up? Man, okay, I have a very non-trusting view of the world. This is typically how I view people, and then I try to see like how actions will line up. Or if I ask certain questions, like how are they going to respond to these things? Let me give you a more concrete example, okay? So
Have you done that with me?
I'm kind of always doing it, but I haven't explicitly done it with you. But this would be like an example of something where you could try. Okay?
Can we go through it? Can we do it with me?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Yeah. So like I messaged you and I said, hey, I think it was something like, I'm curious to chat with you about like the online stuff that you get now, like how that's different than before and now or whatever. I think I said something like that, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that you respond to me and you say something like, this would be a cool thing to talk about, but I don't really think I'm comfortable talking about it on stream or publicly. If you said something like that to me and then I was like, Okay, that's cool. I understand. We don't have to talk about that then. What would your feeling be from that?
Oh, you want me to think about it
Yeah.
from my point of view, how I would feel?
Yeah.
If you said we don't have to talk about it publicly, I think I would feel warmly because it would mean you're not just trying to have the conversation for content. You actually also want to have it.
Oh, okay, sure. That's not exactly what I said, but you got the point of it. But what I was saying originally was like, what if I said, okay, well, we don't have to talk then, and then I just drop it completely, we never talk about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh. If you said, I didn't understand.
But no. But okay. you got the essence of it. So like, yeah. If I was
well,
like,
do you
okay,
see how
cool.
I interpret? You gave me like a bad scenario, and
Sure, but it was like one or two words difference. But like, yeah, that's true. So like, if I was willing to have the conversation,
I interpreted it completely backwards.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. If I'm willing to have the conversation,
that speaks to my naivete. That I'm like, well, whatever he says, I'm sure.
But if we never have the conversation, at some point you would probably feel like, okay, shit, this guy's just trying to like use my emotional shit for content, basically, and he doesn't actually give a fuck otherwise, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying essentially. Yeah, but there are things like that. You'll find a lot of like popular people don't ever want to hang out or do anything unless there's either content involved or they're streaming it or there's like something in it for them. You're not necessarily at that point yet, but like you'll get to that point, I guess. And these are kind of the ways that you can tell if somebody's genuinely interested or not, right?
Yeah. Wait, so how would you do that? How would I screw you over?
Well, no one can screw me over because nobody has enough to screw me over because I don't give anybody that much shit. So, I mean, I guess my wife could screw me over by making a false rape claim to the police or something. I don't know. But very few people are in a position to screw me over because I operate really independently. I don't really have a team. I don't really have sponsors. I don't really do any of that shit. So Twitch could screw me over, I guess, by banning me. So if you somehow got Twitch to ban me, that would screw me over. Oh, actually, I don't want to say it now. If you got me banned from Twitch somehow, that would probably screw me over.
That's me getting somebody else. You're saying that I don't have enough information or clout to affect you negatively.
Well, I'm using myself as an example is a very bad thing because I'm very unique on this platform. Like I have my own website where I have my own subscription and my own chat and my own community.
I could get arrested with child porn. I don't know if that'd screw you over, but it wouldn't.
It would make me look pretty bad for sure. Yeah. But
I would have to if I self-destruct, basically, I can
sure, especially in a child porn like way would be
right. I could inflict a minor amount of damage.
Yeah, it would be pretty dumb for a while. Yeah, people would probably make fun of me for that one for a little bit, for sure. But you see, we have that mutual buy-in because for you to do that would require you to self-destruct. So I assume that most people wouldn't do that, which is actually, that's a naive assumption on my part because a lot of people actually will totally self-destruct to fuck with you. So be careful.
Or just self-destruct for the fuck of it. I'm surprised at how many, maybe you have some insight as to why so many content creators seemingly just destroy their own careers for no reason. I don't understand.
Give me an example.
I don't want to name. I guess I just mean people who record themselves doing and saying things that destroy their credibility, and then it takes them months or years to regain it, or they never regain it. People who say I'm quitting YouTube when they have 5 million subs, and then come back 6 months later and say, oh, never mind. Just nonsensical, terrible decisions. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, yeah. I understand the question. Maybe because I've been in the business longer, I think I know a little bit better why people do sometimes the things they do. Sometimes it's just recklessness. Sometimes people get too comfortable. Sometimes a lot of people are like newly thrust into these positions and they end up making really big mistakes and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
But it just kind of depends, yeah.
And you have no team or manager or anything?
I have like an agency that gets me sponsorships, but I operate way more independently than most people just because I think people are very, very unreliable. So
I have a content editor. And
okay.
his only job is to tell me when to not post a video.
Yeah, that's good.
So he has
not post a video.
Yeah, or when to delete a video. So he has full veto power over the whole channel. So everything I make, I show to him before I post it.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells me if it's too long or too boring or too bad or just not funny or not interesting or whatever. I think he's only axed like 5 things, probably. He's definitely made me re-edit a bunch of things.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that I am surprised that more people don't have something like that. I feel like that will be helpful.
For sure. I don't do anything manually with my YouTube. There's another guy that runs all of that for me.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
for
makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah, where are we going with this?
I don't think I can take sponsorships. I don't think I'll get any, and if I got them, I don't think I can take them.
Probably not.
Because I think my whole well, yeah, probably won't get them, but as a thought experiment, I feel like part of why people would watch me is that they know I'm not being paid to say or not, like they know I'm going to say what I'm actually thinking. And as soon as people are paying you,
That comes into question, kind of.
it comes into question. I think even with like donations and Patreon, it starts there is a little voice in my head that's like my Patreon grew by like 25% in the last 2 days. And so now I'm working on my next video, and it's impossible to say like, oh, I'll just put that out of my head and just make the next thing. Like, it's hard to not be trying to figure out what they want to hear.
I mean, it depends on your goals and the purpose for why you're doing something, right? Like, if it's become like a thing that you use to pay the bills, then that's obviously going to weigh on you, right? There might be a certain type
Right.
of content that you really enjoy doing, but there might be a different type of content that your fans really enjoy watching, and that's going to butt heads every now and then. You might want to film, your 20th whatever video, and they want to see you do like a whatever thing.
I think it's usually they want to see the 20th whatever thing, and you want to
you want to do like
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's usually the conflict.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, that's really hard in the art world too, because like music stuff that you do is going to take you a million times longer to do than just a live stream, and then there's never going to be a payoff for it ever. It's not even going to be remotely close. Monetarily, I mean, right? There might be like a more artistic thing that you get out of it, but or if you like, obviously, if you go fucking huge, maybe. But realistically,
I mean, yeah, if
Yeah.
you go huge, then music becomes a self-sustaining income stream. But yeah, we're not there yet.
this is super random. Do you know my favorite rapper of all time? A guy called Uncle Adams.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Never mind. Don't be that guy. That's not even closely related. Okay, I was just curious. Never mind.
Don't be what guy?
Totally not related to this. That was just a random. I was just curious. Okay. What do you want to go from here? Oh, here's a thing. Do you ever think that sometimes you should make it more clear that you're being shocking, or do you like to live in that ambiguity?
Okay, so like with the Cuties review as an example,
Okay.
I made that for my under 2,000 subs. And I didn't, in my videos, until that point, were not really viewed by people who were not already subscribers. There would usually be one or two new people coming in and saying, wait, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And then the people would say, like, explain it to them. They'd be like, okay, I get it. So when I made that, I did not expect it to really have an effect of being shocking, because everybody who was going to watch it would already understand that, like, if I say a 12-year-old is hot, they'll understand what I mean and why I'm saying that. They'll
There's
get
a level
that
of charitability that's afforded to you from an inner friend group, whereas an outer group is going to, yeah.
yes.
When you're being concise, you have like this sliver of meaning, but when you're being kind of like ironic or sarcastic, there's a huge gray area, but most of your fans are probably over here, but strangers coming in will be over here. So when you say something like a 12-year-old is hot, your fans will probably be like, okay, this is like Max's humor, but a stranger will be like, this guy wants to
Except I
fuck
wasn't being
12-year-olds.
ironic. Except I wasn't joking when I said that.
Okay. Do you want to? Now I have to have you expand on that. What do you mean by that?
I think we should move on. No, what do you want me to? What do you mean? What do I mean by that? It's self-explanatory. It's not. It's the fact that I'm not joking is what makes it funny.
Well, but then it's not a joke. I
I
mean, in
don't think that's
general,
true.
you don't. In general,
I
you
don't think that's.
Okay, hold on. In general, you don't find 12-year-olds hot, right?
No, that's why I was mentioning it because it was surprising.
Okay. Do you
I
ever-
was like, this movie. I said they're trying to make you see 12-year-olds as hot, and I was like, and woe and behold, they did a pretty good job.
Okay, so. Okay, let's go further into this. When you say that, what do you think is like? What is the impression that the average person gets? Because I think sometimes it feels like maybe you don't understand.
The average person.
Yeah, when they hear a statement like that.
Well, I know the impression because now I know that the impression is that they. Oh, so this conversation is a good example.
Uh-huh.
If I'm not reading the chat,
Sure.
but I assume it is not 500 people calling me a pedophile and saying that I need to go to jail. But if I said this on Vaush's stream, that is what they would say. But the context, it's not. It's not a circle of close friends, but it has the same effect of like.
I understand what you're saying. Let me. Can I take what you're saying? I think, and then kind of like
Rework it?
Yeah. So, and then let me give you an example. Now, you might not care about this. Maybe you don't give a fuck about this, and that's fine if you don't. But
I think I give a fuck about it just in the opposite direction.
well, in the opposite direction, you're doing a really good job because you're being as provocative as possible while hanging yourself as much as possible in every statement, if that's your goal.
I think well, I'll tell you my goal. Well,
Okay.
should I tell you my goal first, or do you want to tell me how you would repackage it, and then I'll tell you how?
Yeah, I
how
can
feel
repackage
like
it. You tell me if this is like contrary to what you would like to accomplish, I guess, right? Okay. So I said earlier, when you're on your own channel and you make a comment, like this 12-year-old is hot, people know you're kind of being like ironic or sarcastic, right? That was what I said earlier, okay? And then you responded, well, no, I'm serious, right? So maybe instead of that, right, a more rhetorically mindful response would be, well, no, what I was talking about was the idea that generally I don't see 12-year-olds as being hot, so we're reinforcing the social norm there. But the thing about this movie was that its goal was to provide an evocative sense of what a 12-year-old could look like in a sexual manner as a like comparison to how adolescents are being framed right now in society. So in that sense, the movie like achieved its effect of portraying a 12 or 13-year-old in a sexual manner, even though normally that would be like a shocking thing to see. And I think the movie achieved its goal there. That would be a way where you've said the same thing, but now you've made your stated position on hot 12-year-olds clear, that it's not something you normally, or hopefully maybe ever partake in, or maybe once when you're 87 on your deathbed, right? But like this is something you're not normally thinking about ever, right? But this, in this case, this movie like was evocative in that sense, and you thought it accomplished its goal well. Do you understand how like the second leaves less room for people, or at least bad faith people, to attack you with?
The second one assures the person you're talking to that you understand the social norm.
Yeah.
And that you are going to write yourself a hall pass to break the social norm briefly without saying, I'll be right back. I just want to take you over here for a second and show you something from this perspective. And then we will both go back into the world where saying a 12-year-old is hot is a terrible thing. And I would never do that.
Basically,
And
yeah.
Effectively, I didn't just do that. I didn't say that, and this didn't happen.
Yeah. Also, real quick,
and
your
then-
stream went down apparently like 5 or 10 minutes ago, so I don't know if you need to restart that or what, or if that's something you're super concerned
Do
with.
I just stop and start again?
I don't know why it went down, so
I don't know why either. It said connection lost.
you could try stop and starting it, but
It says kilobytes per second 0. That seems bad.
do you not have a good internet connection? Because you're broadcasting to me pretty well.
Maybe is that the problem that I'm doing it in 2 places at once?
Does it still
I
say,
don't know.
does it just say 0?
Kilobytes per second in OBS in the lower right corner says 0.
That makes it sound like you either have the wrong stream key in or the wrong name.
Could not access the specified channel or stream key.
Wait a second.
Please double check it.
What bit rate do you stream at?
3,500.
Okay. Maybe
Should
try
I lower it?
no,
Or it's at
3,500.
4,000. Well, why wouldn't it? Why would it change? Why would the stream key? Did I get banned or something? Why would it not be able to access the stream key? Okay, change it to.
Try restarting
Change it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed it. Oh, restart the application.
Yeah, or like log in again if it says I can't find your stream key. I don't know if it got reset somehow, but.
I'll be. Okay, so I should stop streaming, and close it. It says I'm live. Is that that's not true though?
Well,
that's what you're saying.
Doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah.
This is the best advice you've given me of all.
Is it?
Just to have my stream actually be streaming.
Yeah.
Pretty hard to argue. Okay, I'm gonna close OBS and reopen it. And start streaming.
Good job. I'm proud.
I feel like it's not working.
Well, you're not online, so
Oh.
yeah, that does
Oh,
seem to be the case.
oh, there it goes. Man, look how washed out my colors are compared. Look at all the colors you've got there.
Well, I like to be colorful, okay?
I know it's smart. I should figure that out.
Well, I mean, your aesthetic is nice.
I know, but next to you, it's so dreary.
Well, what can I say? You know.
I know. I have a lot to learn. Okay, so I get what you're saying. You're saying that instead of leaving the door open for, I wouldn't even say bad faith. I think you're right. Just
yeah, you haven't left the door open. To be clear, you're standing at like the mouth of a massive fucking cave that can't even be closed when you make a statement like that. Which, if that's your intention, that's okay. But if you understand that if that is intentionally what you're doing, then there's stuff that you have to be more ready to deal with. Like you're forever going to be branded and called a pedophile and everything. Like my community even says that too to you, right? That's not just Vaush's. Like my community is really torn on.
BGG would never say that. Okay. They know me. Yeah, they trust me just like you trust me. Okay. I think what I like about not doing. Okay, there is something. Imagine the opposite situation. You're hanging out with a friend, right? And you're talking about Black Lives Matter. And you say they look at you and they say, listen, I understand there's socio-political pressures on Black people that might make them more likely to run from or resist arrest when the police are questioning them. So I get that. So I just want to let you know that I understand that before I say what I'm about to say, Stephen. But what I'm feeling is when I watch these videos of Black people, you know, getting shot or beaten, part of me, and this is awful, this is really awful, part of me feels like, why don't you just do what the cop is saying?
Sure.
I feel like that would feel distancing. Like that, if a friend of mine's, like if Shaylin said that to me, I would fucking slap her across the face. I would be heartbroken because it's like, it's so distancing that the person you're supposed to trust at this point is being a politician.
I understand what you're saying. That is the reality of online interactions. Unfortunately, there is just.
But I want to change. See, I think there's a.
You can't change that.
I am change. I am, and I can.
Okay.
I think that there is a meta message that I'm sending at the same time, which is that I demand that you trust me. In exchange for your trust, I will say that my unvarnished truth about 12-year-old girls. And in exchange for that, you got to trust me. You got to trust me. And so it's really rough. It's really rough for new people, for people who don't watch the channel. Obviously, that's, you know, very uncomfortable. For some people, it's a breath of fresh air. Or as someone emailed me and said that it felt like I gave them an orange to suck down after they'd had scurvy for 6 months. But for other people, it's horrifying. So
I think there are two big problems with this. Okay, I admire the goal. I tried this for a long time. There are two big problems. One.
Oh, well, fuck you.
Yeah. One is, you won't survive.
You don't have to give up.
Yeah.
We can do this together.
Okay. The first problem is you just won't survive it because people will actually destroy your ability to be platformed anywhere.
How?
Like people will report you on Twitch, report you on YouTube. Like, do you think you said that you got reported on YouTube for the Cuties review, right?
I got reported on. Okay, yeah. So YouTube banned me.
Mm-hmm. Did you in that review? Did you say like I want to go fuck 12-year-olds or anything crazy? Like, did you say anything like that? Like at that level? Like that you think you should have been banned?
The creepiest thing here's the two creepiest things I said. I think
the two creepiest. Okay, you have a list.
There's probably like 15, but the creepiest was I said this movie tries to make you attracted to 11-year-old girls, and it's not bad at it. Mm-hmm. As far as I said, your mileage may vary, but for me, it was fairly successful. And the other creepy thing I said is the movie's really interesting because it's challenging you to just the movie's saying to you, look at the blonde one. So I did like that. That was a joke, obviously. The other one was not really a joke, and there were also clips of the girls dancing in the review. I think this was the problem.
Gotcha.
No, I didn't break TOS.
Okay, so but you still got the video got fucked for it anyway, taken right?
Well, sort of. The video got taken down, and then I appealed it, and they put it back up. Okay. It got taken down again. I appealed it. It got put back up. This happened 3 times, and then my entire channel got deleted.
Okay. Wait, so the channel you're on right now is a new channel, or?
No, the channel I'm on now was deleted in December of last year. I started a new channel. In April, I got an email that was like, hey, actually your channel doesn't violate TOS and it's reinstated. 4 months later. And then I was like, this is perfect. I just finished this I'm a Pedophile music video. I can throw this up and we can get back to business as usual.
Okay.
So I made my comeback, and then it got deleted again because I made a video where Shaylin and I, those ads on Pornhub?
Which ones?
The ones that are like a GIF of like a story that plays really fast in the corner.
Maybe
it's like someone getting stuck at a washing machine or somebody. Yeah. It's like a whole porn movie but playing in like 5 seconds.
Sure. What about it?
In fast motion. You can imagine it. So I was like, I want to make one of those.
Okay.
And so I made like a mini documentary of me talking Shaylin into making it.
Okay.
And like the process of us making it and all the like disturbing conversations we had about it and what we were doing. And then we made it, and then so it's called I Made a Pornhub Parody GIF. And people kept reporting it as being porn, but there's no porn in it, but there's porn in the title. So then my channel got deleted again, and then when they reinstated it, they deleted the video. I don't think because it broke TOS, but they were just like, like the algorithm has no way to know that this isn't porn, except someone has to manually review this like every week or something. So like, just stop.
So are you not worried at all then in this route? Because then my original point, I had 2 things. And the first thing I said was you won't survive it. Are you not worried that like one of these things is just going to ding you and then it's going to be like, oh, fuck, that was the last one and I'm not going to get a manual? Because your channel could have been permanently gone on any of these reviews. You just happened to get the right person watching it and then that didn't happen. But it's not inconceivable that next time will be the last time, no?
Yeah, I think that I need to do things that break TOS on your streams instead of mine. No,
yeah,
I think
we went the wrong direction.
I do think I need to be a little more careful. I wouldn't put clips of prepubescent girls twerking on my channel anymore. I think that was a little foolish. And I did go back and take down some videos that had like nudity. There was a lot of me naked on my own channel for a while.
On YouTube?
And, I did, yeah, not full frontal, but my ass was in like 3 different videos, so I took those down.
Okay.
Actually, I think there's one that's still up, but
okay.
Yeah, there is still one that's up, but I don't think that breaks TOS.
Okay.
depending on the context. It's artistic.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree that. Well, don't you think that what I've already said and done is enough to have people flagging my channel just forever starting now? If I reach any level, I mean, yeah, I could just like play folk songs on a guitar and people are going to flag my channel forever starting now. If I to whatever extent I have any success.
I mean, like, yeah, but I mean, like, the more you go, the more people are gonna. It would just suck that if you got banned for, like, if you just got banned, because then it's all over, and it doesn't really matter what you think or stand for or anything. Like, you're just kind of done. And that seems to be the goal these days. The goal isn't
To
really
get people deplatformed.
Yeah, the goal isn't to engage. The goal is to beat you with a hammer until you stop. Basically, that's kind of the goal these days online. So
Yeah, I
anybody
saw
that's like
people
watching or
in-
listening to this, like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it would have been like, okay, we need to go debate this guy and prove that he's like a pedophile, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, no. We need to call this guy's apartment complex, let them know who's hosting him, and then get him kicked out and then deplatform from literally everything for the rest of his life. Like, that's like the goal now when people are doing like this online shit.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's where we're at. I do agree, though. It sucks.
I don't think Vaush should be banned from Twitch.
No, I don't think so either. It wasn't really that bad, not compared to Hasan. If he appeals, he might come back, but not being on here gives him an excuse, another one to avoid me. So.
Yeah, in the Vaush subreddit, they're talking about reporting my website.
And they'll go really far too, and that's the thing that sucks these days. Because way back in the day, maybe they would just report your website, but now they'll like report your domain service provider. Now they'll try to report your host. If that doesn't work, they might report other people that use your host. I've had people do this to me before.
Really?
Yeah, people go really, really, really far, and somebody at some point will break because of where society's at these days and this stuff. So.
Okay, but doesn't that also make you want to be like, fuck you? Like, no?
Yeah, it does. It's just, but you have to pick your battles, unfortunately, right? I understand the naivety thing now. That wasn't supposed to be an insult, but like, you can't fight every battle because you just can't. You'll just get buried and you lose. Like, one person can't do it. There is a woman, really cool person. I think she is not always right in her arguments, but she got into an argument recently related to like public sex, basically. And she was making an argument that like, if you go outside barefoot and your partner has like a foot fetish, you're like traumatizing children. Not exactly like that, but that you're like engaging in a sex act in front of children without their consent, even if you don't do anything, right? So I think it was a pretty silly argument. Most people seem to agree. But people got so mad over that argument that people reported her to her local bar to try to get her disbarred from ever becoming a lawyer, because she's like a third-year law student.
They're mad because they're saying it's anti-foot fetish?
They're just mad because they think she was wrong in her debate. And
Yeah, but what faction of people is...
very far left people, because the people that she was arguing against were very far left people. But she wasn't far left enough. She's like a avowed trans person, and she is like, but she just wasn't far left enough for the crowd on that one. But the person she was arguing with identifies as like a deer, so she's like a little bit higher on the tier of protected classes. Sorry, but yeah, but I'm just trying to say, like, that's the level that people will go to like destroy you. So it's like, it's hard to fight against all of that.
Did they succeed?
No, not this time, but it's a lot to deal with. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm going down a dark path.
I mean, like, Trump is deplatformed from social media, and he's a pretty powerful dude.
But Trump breaks TOS.
True, but I'm just saying that, like, if he can't get unbanned from Twitter, there's a good chance that it'll happen to you, and then you'll just get completely fucked, right?
Do you think January 6th was an insurrection?
I think it was pretty close to it. The only reason why
an unsuccessful insurrection, but
the thing that hurts me is that like I'm looking for like a level of planning when we call it that, and I don't think that level of coordination or planning prior to that existed. It looked to me like a lot of people that went to protest, they were mad. I do think that you could probably levy that charge at a few people. I think the FBI said like 5% of people there were organized or something. Those guys maybe. But for like the overall crowd, I think it was just a lot of dipshits wandering through the halls of fucking the Capitol Hill, and it was just really fucking stupid. I do think there are probably a few actors there that you might be able to now with that, but I wouldn't call the whole thing an insurrection. If it was, then they would have killed lawmakers because there were enough people there to do it easily. There were like fucking 2 cops there to hold off like 10,000 protesters. If it was a planned insurrection, then they would have insurrected. That's how I view it. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
But there are strong arguments on both sides of that too. That just because you do a shitty insurrection, just because your planning was bad, or just because it was really shitty, doesn't mean it wasn't an insurrection. And
I mean, if they had killed Mike Pence or something, then you would say it was.
Yeah, exactly. Because the very same people there theoretically could have gotten far enough in that would happen. And then let's say that they did that by blind luck. Would I still be here saying, well, yeah, they killed the vice president, but like, was it really an insurrection? No, they weren't. Like, maybe that literally is just outcome oriented. There's really strong arguments on both sides of that. I would say that it wasn't, but like there are good arguments on the other side for why it was. That's just kind of where I fall on it,
Yeah, so I am naive. I just go to like, well, I just won't incite a mob, and then I won't get banned.
Yeah, that's
even though I've already been banned and I didn't break TOS. But then I'm like, well, I got unbanned, so if I get banned, I'll get unbanned.
Sure, that won't always happen. And then when you do get perma banned, you're gonzo garbanzo forever. And then you won't be MrGirl returns. You'll just be Mr. Gone Girl or something. I don't know.
That's not a bad name.
Yeah. Well, you won't have
but
it.
You wouldn't.
Banned,
you wouldn't be gone. You hit a critical mass where you would have your website. You would find a way to.
I don't think there is a critical mass. I think that I'm at a critical mass such that like I could get banned on Twitch and I'd still be okay. But like people like Milo Yiannopoulos, this is like an international figure, and he's like fucked. He's like begging for money. Fucked.
Really.
Mm-hmm. And related to this because he went into the pedophile territory, and that's what like super got him. So.
Yeah. He said that sometimes it's a rite of passage relationship with a 13-year-old and a 35-year-old, and like these things just happen.
Yeah.
And, like let's not pretend that's pedophilia, something like that.
Kind of, but. What he said was he actually could have gotten away with it, ironically enough, if he would have been a little bit more optically minded when he phrased it. What he essentially said was that for young boys, that first gay relationship you have with an older man can be really important. And gay people already have a stigma of being like child predators, so it was really and he wasn't on the proper platform to have that discussion, even if there were aspects of truth to it or some way that he could salvage it. So it was just it was just a nightmare of a statement, and then he got fucking destroyed for it. Yeah.
I think that's another thing that I'm interested in is pushing the platform itself. Where like if you said that in a book, like it would be fine. Potentially,
yeah. Although even at that, people will only clip. People will just take a sentence. Like there's a lot of people that have a lot of strong opinions about 1984 that have never opened the book before, like, and that's the same for any like biography or book that anybody's written or YouTube video or whatever like that. Just
and you think that we're at the point where publishers even will kowtow to people who have never even read the book just because of what happens on social media.
Everybody kowtows now because it's not the thing is that like the kind of like the very I hate to say this, but like the very woke minded stuff is like very 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 corporately popular. It's like you make a lot of money and shit doing it. So
well, I think we should just accept that my career is going to meet an ugly, untimely, and unceremonious end, and just go from there. I don't see a way around this.
Well, couldn't you just be a little bit more careful how you phrase some things?
No, because then it wouldn't be me. I get what you're saying. You're saying there's a way to be you without being so provocative. But I feel like part of what people find refreshing about my content is that I'm saying, like Eminem said, I'm only giving you shit that you talk about with your friends inside your living rooms. Like I'm going to talk to the audience as if we know each other and we trust each other.
Sure, but even Eminem... he was only able to do that because he lived in the year 2000 and whatever, right? Like, could you imagine?
And he didn't have money and he didn't have kids.
But
since
like
then, he's much more careful.
Yeah.
He's much more careful.
Like, you couldn't release the Marshall Mathers LP today. Like a song like Kim, right? Can you imagine?
Right.
It's just a song about him killing his wife, fantasizing about killing or his kid's mom, right? Like, it would never happen. And then the amount of the upslur, like everything, there's just like no way that album would never be released today. Or if somebody tried to.
It won a Grammy. It won a Grammy just 20 years ago.
True. But yeah, that's all I'm saying is that like the times are changing. But
I want to change them again. I want to lead the charge here.
You're charging off a cliff, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I would like to take you with me.
Okay, that's I have a kid.
If we all go together, Thelma and Louise, if we all go together, then you know what I mean? Like if you can get enough people to say like, actually, this kind of sucks. I feel like you can. I feel like people are ready for a change. I think the safety versus boredom equation, like right now, people are like, well, I want to be safe in my circle, and I'll just destroy your circle. I get how that is working itself out, which is horrible. Like I said, I don't think Vaush should get banned. It's stupid. Like obviously, I have problems with him and what's happened, but it's dumb. I think that a lot of people are ready, just as Trump suspected that a lot of people are ready for less political correctness, that people are feeling constricted by it, and that people don't like that he's saying he's going to grab a woman by the pussy. They like that he's willing to say it. And I think the one good thing about Trump, the one good thing he's done is I do think he's gotten people to kind of look around at each other and say, like, maybe we don't have to have such strict rules about what we say. I don't think that's good coming from the president, and the things he's said have had disastrous effects. And I really don't like Trump, but I do think that little nudge, or even just proving to everybody, like 4 years before Trump, if somebody told you that somebody was going to be elected president who said the things that he said, I would never have believed it.
Yeah, people didn't believe it during the primaries. Every time he opened his mouth, people were like, that's it, he's done. Like, there's no way he can come back from this. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so...
Yeah, I mean, like, it might be the case, and I've talked about this a lot, that it feels like a pendulum sometimes, and maybe we're about to swing back the other way, but you never really know when, and...
Yeah, but you have a lot of control over that.
Not even close. Like, maybe when you hit, like, A-list celebrity status, you start to get control over this, but... even at that, like, people like Matt Damon get canceled because he says, like, fucking, he worships Jesus or some weird shit, I think, on his Instagram.
But that's because he backs down also. He doesn't say, like, no, I should be allowed to say that.
Like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree that there's a hypothetical world where it could work. You would just have to have so much power on board with you that...
I mean, isn't this part of why you're successful?
Yes, but I was way more edgy 5 or 10 years ago than I am now because I have to adapt my platform with the times. Otherwise,
Okay, but you're still your edginess level relative to where you're supposed to be. Like, you're still pretty far outside of what is expected of you, and you're rewarded for that.
A little bit, yeah, but I'm also like punished hardcore for it too. Like, I'm known as a bridge burner. That's what people know me for. That's the joke. Like, if you go into subreddits, people talking about me, they'll post pictures of like burning bridges and shit, and that's like that's like a meme for me. I think I even have a shirt of it, of like a giant bridge burning.
Tell me a bridge that you've burned.
All of them. I mean, like Hasan and Vaush are probably the two biggest ones.
Okay, what happened with Vaush?
What did happen? Oh, I spent a lot of time online criticizing people on the right, basically. And I didn't realize this, but a lot of my fans at the time were kind of like, oh yeah, like we're communists and socialists and blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was kind of a joke because I'm not a fucking communist or socialist. It's stupid as fuck. But I actually was unironically, I didn't realize it, but there was a huge growing movement online of people that were actually like communists and socialists. So I was like a very like revered figure on the left online, like the very, very early, like BreadTube, like everybody thought I was like the shit because Destiny's the guy that goes and he debates these evil conservatives and he's so cool and blah, blah, blah. And at some point through my relationship with Vaush and Hasan, I staked out a stronger position where I was like, hey, like I'm not a socialist. Like I don't do socialism. That's not a solution to anything. And people got really, really, really mad about that. And I split off like half my fan base and half of them went to like Hasan and Vaush, and then I had half left, and then I kind of like rebuilt from there because there was like a huge growing trend of like back like 3 or 4 years ago, even there wasn't socialism and communism online weren't really things. Like nobody was really that. So I didn't see that wave of stuff coming. And then when I kind of split them off, then me and Hasan and Vaush all kind of sort of split ways. There were individual events that happened with each of them, but it was more or less over that they were kind of like riding this growing trend of socialism and communism that was like the new popular online aesthetic. But I'm kind of like in my position where I'm like, these things are really dumb and they don't really solve anything. And that's kind of what happened more or less. Yeah.
And why couldn't you just be different from each? Like, why couldn't you be like colleagues or friends or whatever, but just not agree on this?
There's two reasons. The less personal reason is because ideologically it's hard to accept somebody on the left that's 95% the same as you. Even historically, leftists kill themselves all the time, and other leftists, if you're not the right kind of leftist, it's just what they do. I don't know why. There's a lot of infighting in left-leaning groups. You see it happen with progressives too.
You're ascribing that tendency to them and not you, obviously.
No, I can get along with anybody. I don't care. I'm like, I have lots of different friends. Like half my family, my whole family are conservatives, and we love screaming at each other. Like that's fun for me. I enjoy it. Like I said before, I enjoy conflict and arguing. I super love that. Okay. So that was a non-personal reason. The personal reason though is because like, if we do disagree on something, like I'm gonna want to argue about it, and I'm gonna want to fight about it. And if you say really dumb shit, I'm gonna say it's really dumb shit. And I think for a lot of people, that feels like a betrayal. Especially if I'm like online as a reputation as like a debater or like a politics person, or I'm relatively smart. If I'm criticizing you, it feels really bad and it feels like I'm backstabbing you. So like with Hasan, he got really mad because people would compare me to him and they'd be like, oh, like where's like Destiny to come explain this or whatever. And he would get like super irritated about that. So when we say like, can somebody be racist against somebody under like, I guess like the common vernacular of like, could somebody hate somebody because of their skin color? Of course, anybody can do that. But when we start like analyzing society, we look at like meaningful demonstrations of racism. So for instance, like the criminal justice system or economic disadvantages, right? In these ways, minority people can't really exercise racism against majority people because they don't really have the status or the power in society in order to do so.
I vote for Destiny.
It's like I wish Destiny could just come in at the beginning and give us the right answer right away instead of making us wait.
So we didn't have to list a fucking Hasan.
Yeah,
it makes me feel
like we have the cheat sheet right here.
Honestly, like
it's funny because like the only
it's
way
such a fucking retarded thing to say. Like I'm sorry, but like if you can't comprehend the fucking shit that I'm saying, it's on you. Okay, I'm doing as best as I'm doing.
Hey, Wes.
You said the R word.
He literally said the exact same thing that I just said. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
You can say retard on Twitch. Zeta Poppin says it all the time.
Fuck Twitch then.
No, wait, relax. Hey, come on now, Wes. Let's be nice.
Wait, what did I do?
Well, look.
I was just joking. I don't really. You don't make jokes without people taking it so seriously.
Why I use prejudice or discrimination over racism is because, again, like Destiny mentioned, that I padded up with legislative background information.
So, do you want my actual answer?
You can't have fucking power.
Even though I get you think I'm stupid, what I was trying to say is that because all arguments are based on your definition. So what he did is he laid out the two definitions and why they're different, and then he explained why one yes and one no. Right. If you would have done that from the beginning, I would have understood 100%. But the first thing you did is start jumping in.
No, you wouldn't have, because it's me talking. That's
not true.
Try it next time.
I swear to God, I don't dislike you. I don't just ignore everything you say because I think you're a communist or whatever. I agree with you on a lot of points, man.
I think the idea that a minority lacks power is ridiculous.
Can I ask Destiny something?
He's muted.
I agree with you, Josh.
What's up? I'm here. What do you want?
Yeah. So like you gave us the two examples. If we just stuck to the individual, right, not the community, just the individual, can they be racist to the ruling class?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Or if he would say something I would disagree with, we would have a kind of an argument about it. I think I'd be nice, but the fact that I would disagree with him, I think it feels like a big betrayal to people. So that's kind of why all that fell off. Yeah.
And Vaush too.
Vaush and me went back and forth, but Vaush has kind of moved into this area where he came out of my community wanting to do what I did, and he was good at it too, wanting to be like a debater. That was like his thing. But as time went on, I think he became more concerned with growing his fan base and wearing the aesthetic of socialism. And he was kind of like, have you ever seen Rurouni Kenshin, the anime?
No.
Fuck, what the fuck do you watch? You don't watch anime? You don't watch Game of Thrones? Do you have any media consumption at all?
Star Trek.
Okay.
I just saw Midnight Mass.
Like a real life one?
No, the show. It's a Netflix miniseries.
Gotcha. Well,
by Mike Flanagan. I recommend it. It's extremely good.
Okay. I
watch a lot of movies. I don't watch shows as I just watched the season 3 of True Detective. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I watch stuff.
That's fair.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I saying?
You were saying, have you seen
Rurouni
Kenshin?
Sorry, there's an anime analogy, but don't worry about it. But basically, I think Vaush used to be a big fan of mine, and he kind of copied a lot of my like surface level positions, but he didn't really have a good understanding of like the very foundational way to get there. So once we started arguing more and more, I think he started to make some pretty like on its face ridiculous statements, and then people kind of like a huge schism grew because he saw it as like he kind of like looked really bad, and then he doesn't like looking bad when he argues against me because I'm supposed to be the edgy one, not him. And then he spent like a lot of time like starting to basically mischaracterize or frame my positions like really stupidly. And then he was like, well, I'm going to debate Destiny anymore. I'm not doing that because, you know, he's like a bad faith actor, and then he just doesn't want to talk to me about, yeah, something like that. There's like a whole you can do like a ton of lore behind each of this, but, and then obviously I'm a little bit biased. Like if you would ask either of these guys, they would say that like,
well, I assume that
I'm an edgy provocateur and I'm just a contrarian loser who doesn't believe anything I say, and I just do it for shock value or some dumb shit like that. So, yeah.
Okay. And and you're not on speaking terms with Vaush?
I would be on speaking terms with either of them. Hasan obviously
They're not on speaking terms with you.
No, yeah, they fucking hate me. But that's generally how it goes. I'm usually like willing to talk to anybody. I don't care if you fuck me over as long as you don't do it again. Because it's fun to chat with people. I don't really care.
Okay, so you predict at some point 4 or 5 months from now, I'm gonna say something that you think is stupid, and you're gonna say that. You're going to dunk on me in some forum, and then I'm going to feel betrayed and call you a pedophile or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm half joking when I say I don't know. I would hope that it wouldn't happen with you. I'm not sure, but
you're saying I have to be ready for you to call me an idiot at some point.
It would be like if you say something dumb, I'm going to say like, oh, he said this thing and I think that's kind of dumb, or I think that's stupid, or that doesn't make sense.
Well, I think it's inevitable that I'm going to say something dumb.
Probably, yeah. And I'm sure I've said things that you do, like is pedophilia binary or not, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that like...
But I wouldn't call you dumb for that.
Sure. The problem isn't really so much dumb or not. I think the big issue of what happens is people are very quick to go to like a second or third order position from a first one and just totally fuck everything up. So here's an example, okay? Let's say me and Vaush are having an argument on rent control. Do you know what rent control is?
Yeah.
Okay. If we disagree and I'm against rent control because I don't think it does a good job at protecting poor people, and he says he's pro rent control, the way that it happens after the argument is I'll come out of the argument and I'll say, wow, Vaush is in favor of rent control. I think that's a dog shit policy. But Vaush will come out of the argument saying, wow, Destiny fucking hates poor people. So going forward, anytime I have a disagreement with somebody, rather than disagreeing on the actual policy positions we have, they pretend that I'm disagreeing with them on some moral foundation that their policy position kind of stemmed from. Or for instance, like yesterday or the day before, I was in this really bizarro panel with like 8 conservative women arguing about pedophilia. And when I would say something like...
I saw a few clips of that.
Yeah, it was horrible. But I would say something, you know, like pedophilia is very hard to change. There's a very innate sexual desire, you know, like being gay or straight or trans or whatever. And everybody was like, you think pedophiles are the same as gay people? Do you think wanting to fuck a man
you're saying it's okay?
Exactly, yeah. That's where it goes immediately. So walking away from that conversation, none of those people are going to characterize my position as, oh, Destiny disagrees with us about like pedophilia or child porn. It'll be, oh, Destiny likes it that pedophiles exist and Destiny wants children to be abused. That's like the walk away from it. And that hurts a lot of the discourse as well, which is true for you as well, right? Like Vaush's community doesn't really, I call it the web, but like people won't engage with what you say. They'll just try to pin you on some weird position and then funnel you down into some horrible shit. So like you make a joke about pedophiles. The only people that joke about pedophiles either support pedophiles or are pedophiles. Therefore he is a pedophile. Therefore he's a horrible person.
See, I think that's the other thing I like about my style is that I'm like, you have to work to not pin me to the web. That's not my job. If you want to understand what I'm saying, then you have to do the work to do that. I don't want to do that because I don't want to defend myself.
Yeah, but the problem is nobody's going to do that work. They'll just immediately write you up as a pedophile and then they're done with it.
I feel like I don't know that that's true.
Absolutely,
like I don't feel I don't think I'm getting out of hand dismissed by everybody right now.
You really don't think so? Even my community is super torn on you.
I'm looking at the chat right now.
Okay.
All right, you fucks. Let's see what's going on.
Okay, I'm gonna vote for my chat. Do you
Copium.
think there is
How is he so sigma?
Do you think there is a 50% chance that
Can you do a poll?
That Max is a pedophile? Yes or no? I'm just curious what they'll vote on it.
Do you think there's a 50% chance, yes or no? Why don't you just ask what percent chance?
Because I'm not gonna pull 50 different percentage points. So right now, my community, this is in my DGG chat. So these are my most loyal fans.
I feel like it's either 100 or no or 0.
They're at a 45 to 55% split. So 45% of my fans think there's like a 50% chance that you might be a pedophile, and that's in my most dedicated community. So
okay, but that's pretty good.
Is that a good place to start from?
I think 50-50 on it. Even if they said 100%, I would still say, well, it's only 50-50. That's not too bad.
This is 50-50 in my community, though. If we were to go pull that in Vaush's community, my guess is it would be closer to 90 to 95%.
But he told them to think that.
Exactly, but that's what everyone's going to tell them to think. That's the issue. And I'm telling them basically to think the opposite, and they're still only 50-50, even though they should be simping me and copying all my
I don't think you have explicitly said.
I have. Well, not explicitly, but implicitly, because by me continuing to talk with you, and I'm implicitly trusting you to some extent that you're not actually a pedophile. It would be incredibly stupid of me otherwise, right? So they're getting that vibe from me, whether I say it explicitly or not, right?
Yeah, okay. I can live with 45%. I don't need to win over. I don't think I need to win over 100%, 45%. But you're saying that's 45% of a favorable skewing community.
It all depends. All of this depends on going way, way back. It just depends on what your goal is, really. Because if your goal is to just like kind of
I have 2 goals.
Yeah, go. I think you said these before. Go for it.
Yeah. So one, $3,000 a month being myself. 2, I want to get big enough so that if a big streamer tells me I can't talk right now, I'm gonna play League of Legends for 2 hours, I want to be able to say, no, we're talking now. And then that person has to talk to me.
Okay, why not say, okay, if you want to do that, then don't say, oh yeah, I'm free after 5 and I go to sleep at 4 a.m., okay? Because when you say that, you're giving me like a 12-hour range to talk to you.
I didn't understand the context of your question. But now I do.
You understand how, because now that makes me sound, if you're like, oh, I'm available at 5 or after, and I'm like, can I please talk to you at 5:01 right as soon as you're available? Now that makes me look desperate, okay? So, you know.
I see.
Yeah.
So we're
you haven't used Tinder, I guess, in a while, so you don't know the game.
We're doing it. We have to do the dance. I see. No, I don't know how to play. I don't know the game.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very naive, like you said.
Understood. Gotcha.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring up like what your goal is ultimately is because if you're moving in ways that are counter indicative, I guess, of your goal constantly, then you're always going to be disappointed. So if it ends up that you can't make $3,000 a month, or you never grow because people immediately write you off as a pedophile because you're saying it in the most provocative way possible, then maybe, you know, that's not worth it. And also, keep in mind, when I say anything related to what you do or your goal, these are just opinions, right? Like, and I'm not even telling you what you should do, just things to keep in mind. Like, ultimately, like,
don't you feel like on some level you're trying to doesn't it also seem like
it seems like it, but I'm really not. If you have a desire to do your shit,
I do.
The way you do. Yeah, then just
I do.
You can say,
so
fuck
here,
it,
I want you to tell me the best way to do it, to do it my way, you know? What's the best way to drive off this cliff?
I mean, doing what you're doing now is pretty good. The number one best thing you could do, if you really wanted the whole fucking universe to hate you, is you and your girlfriend should adopt a kid and be really public about it.
Why can't we have a kid? Oh, because adoption is even worse, because it's like
adopt a black kid. Yeah, and then put him in your next rap song. Okay, if you want to just go off the crazy fucking edge. Okay.
No, but because I'm not doing things to upset people. That's the whole thing. That's what makes it so upsetting, is that I'm not trying to upset people. I'm just saying what I think, and I'm just trying to not, like before, yeah, in the early 2000s, when I was writing my newsletter, I had to find a way to make it provocative. Now, there's so much pressure on everyone to declaw everything they say that all I'm trying to do now is just not do that. Like, I'm just trying to not make it
Yeah, I
safe.
understand what you're saying. Like, if you go back and you look at my videos, people in my chat will know that even I get irritated because I'll be screaming at my chat, like, I hate that I have to overqualify every fucking thing I say. Because a lot of the times it feels it doesn't even matter. People will still take me out of context anyway. It's like, well, why the fuck am I? Because every time I talk to somebody, like if somebody says, do you think it's good to lynch a black person? I can't even be like, no or yes. I have to be like, well, assuming that they haven't done anything incorrect and assuming that we're in this time period and assuming we're all using the same moral framework and like I have to like qualify every fucking statement a million times. Otherwise, like somebody's going to take it out of context and use it against me or whatever. And it does get irritating because there's no charitability. There's no good faith. Like if I watch a clip and somebody says something, like even for the million Vaush pedophile things, right? I'm not going to call Vaush a pedophile. I'm going to be like, well, there's probably a reason why he said this. Even for people that I hate, I'll say that, right? There's probably like, we need to see like the 30 seconds before. There's got to be some explanation for this that's not like so outwardly as horrible as it appears. But I think most people aren't going to extend that charitability. They just want to go to the most extreme thing possible immediately. And that's like what's fun for people.
I don't want to, I don't want to participate in that.
Well, you want to be in an online community world, so.
We got to change it. We have to, it's time to go back.
How far back do you want to go, though? That's the problem.
Come on. 50 years. No, I don't know.
Another problem that you have to deal with. So earlier I said there were two reasons that makes it really hard. And one, we're kind of on it still, which is fine, but talking about the survival thing. But the second problem you get is that a lot of people that share your position are like genuinely horrible people. And people will mix you in with them very quickly. So like
my position specifically?
Yeah. Or they superficially hold your positions. So like, I might argue that like freedom of speech is an important concept that we should all adhere to, and even for hate speech or whatever, like I think all of it should more or less be allowed because it's blah 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 for some reasons.
And then you're with like 90% neo-Nazis.
Exactly, and they end up like I become their champion, and I don't want that. Like I don't really agree with them or how they use language. You know, if they want to do it, I'll defend it. But like that's who I will get roped in with immediately. People will hear me make an argument like, "Oh, cool, you're defending Nazis. That's what you want to do." It's like, well, not exactly, but
yeah. So you go on the kill stream.
Yeah, I do because I like to argue with people, and I'm good at it.
I feel like Vaush wouldn't go on the kill stream. Like I feel like most leftist streamers wouldn't go on the kill stream. Is
Vaush
that true?
used to when he was more kind of trying to do what I do, but now that he's not as good anymore, he's a little bit more afraid of those types of things.
Yeah, there's this like thing where like talking to someone makes you more like them in the view of other people.
Yeah, that, and then like people get obsessed with like, should I be platforming this person? You know, maybe I shouldn't do anything at all, or they're getting clout off of me, and I can't let that happen, and blah blah blah. So yeah.
Can we talk about money?
Whatever you want to talk about, sure.
Can you draw me? Are you rich? You must be pretty rich by now.
I'm like pretty wealthy, but I'm not like there are other people richer than me.
Okay, here's the question.
Okay.
How expensive does something if you're gonna thinking of buying something?
Okay.
How expensive does a thing have to be for you to think about like affordability or your income? Like so
very,
for me,
very
like
low 5-figure range, I would immediately be like, this is pretty expensive. Like if something was like $10,000, I don't think I would just buy it immediately.
Okay, but if something's $5,000, you're like, yeah, it's $5,000.
Well, it depends on what it is. I'm not gonna buy a $5,000 ice cream cone.
Okay, but something that makes sense for it to be. I guess my point is like, so for me, I think that number is around $20. Like if I'm on Amazon
sure.
and I see a HDMI cable and I need one and it's $20 or maybe I don't really need, I don't know.
Okay.
Something I only sort of need. And something's $20, I'm like, yeah, it's $20. All right, so you're saying that number for you is about 5,000.
Maybe, sure. What's the
Okay.
Oh yeah, what are we getting at?
I don't know. I'm exploring. Okay. My next question. Can you draw me a sort of, if you feel comfortable, a pie graph of your income?
Yeah, I would say that I make around these days.
Or I've made a pie graph of section. If you want to tell me how much you make, I would love to know.
I'm not gonna draw a fucking pie graph. Okay. I'd say about.
No, I mean, broad swaths. What percent comes from what?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna draw it because I don't draw very well.
I just meant draw with your words.
That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. You've interrupted me about 6 times though, Max.
I'll stop.
Is your name Max, or is it short
Yeah.
for something like Maxine or Max?
No, no.
Or...
It's short for Maxine. MrGirl indeed. No, it's just Max.
Okay. Does that ever upset you? Why?
I think it was going to be Max even if I was a girl.
Oh, ouch.
So I think I was named just Max so that it would be, you know,
Is there like a reason
non-binary.
why do they want that name so much? Do you have like a great something or?
No.
They just-
Yeah, actually, you know what? I was named after my brother's favorite book, Where the Wild Things Are.
Okay.
It's not still his favorite book.
How old is your brother?
I don't think. He's older. I don't want to give too much demographic information.
Okay, because you're like 36, all right? So if your brother's like 39, I don't know how that could be his favorite book, or if that's a book you can read at 3 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's older. He's older than 39.
Okay. I get about half my money from YouTube, and then maybe like 10 to 20% from Twitch, and then maybe about 30% from my website. If I had to like do very broad stroke guesses, YouTube is pretty good.
Yeah,
money.
when you say half from YouTube, that's ads, sponsorships.
Ads.
Does
I
that
would say yeah.
just ads? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out my
pie chart where your money should be coming from.
Yeah, the tripod.
Yeah, the number one thing for you is going to be like
the octopus.
Is going to be subs and donations probably, starting off as a streamer. That's like immediate big cash flow. And then running commercials and stuff on Twitch is pretty good.
Commercials?
Yeah, you can push the show ad button once you get like affiliate or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Twitch, YouTube. I have a Patreon.
Yeah, that helps too, yeah.
And rap. That's the other thing. As I feel like I can't, all these things are kind of, I feel like it's unlikely they'll all be taken away at the same time.
True. Oftentimes what'll happen though is one of these platforms will kind of feed your other revenue streams. So for me, like if I got banned from Twitch, I live stream on YouTube now, but before I live stream on YouTube, if I would have gotten banned from Twitch, it's going to hurt my YouTube and it's going to hurt my website and it's going to hurt like any merchandise or sponsors, right? So
how do you make money from your website?
It's complicated, but basically I have like my own subscriber system and everything built into my site because I always thought a long time ago that I was going to get banned from Twitch. So I just had it all set up just in case.
Sounds like I should do that.
Yeah, maybe if you want to, I mean,
but
that's like that's a maybe, yeah, that's a farther out thing. I wouldn't worry about that right now. That's a,
what would you worry about right now?
Streaming.
That's content. Yeah.
Yeah. Streaming on a consistent schedule is really, really, really important.
I want to do weekly because I don't want to
overload yourself immediately. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Gonna be ugly.
What, streaming?
The whole thing.
Why?
Because I'm uncompromising and these people demand compromise.
Why not compromise a little bit?
Because a little bit feels like everything, I think.
Okay, well.
And if I'm going to compromise everything, there's a lot better ways to make money.
That's true.
I think because my message is that you should not compromise.
Okay.
It's not that you shouldn't compromise at all.
Okay, how about this? You don't have to compromise, but just pick slightly less self-destructive topics.
Isn't that compromising?
Okay, but well, not really, right? Well, maybe a little bit. It's compromising on subject, but not on subject matter. Okay. It's a level removed. Like right now, you're compromising in this call because you could be naked to prove a point. You're in your own house. Why the fuck would you wear clothes? So that's a compromise, yeah?
But I don't, me being naked has no point right now. Like I'm not I don't have an urge to be well. I don't have a sizable urge to be naked right now, so it doesn't. I'm not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, I'm not saying I'm blurting out every single fucking thing that pops into my head whenever I'm talking to anybody. I guess I mean like an artistic compromise.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, you can just like, you can keep trudging forward like this and then see what happens.
Trudging.
Like dragging your boots through the snow, because it's difficult right now, early on, yeah?
Not since you've entered my life, not so much, no.
Well, but the amount of public, everything.
My subscribers are going to have doubled by like next week or something.
Sure, but there's like a lot of other stuff publicly that comes along with that, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is going to be the difficult part.
Oh. Yeah.
How does your girlfriend feel like this? Or feel about this?
I was thinking about her too.
Uh-huh.
I think anxious like me.
Mm-hmm.
I think on some level she's like glad that some other people are seeing what she sees in me.
The
pedophile.
That statement can be read. Yeah.
The pedophile thing.
Okay, gotcha. She's
No,
like,
finally people understand how abused she's been.
Gotcha.
No, I think she feels proud of me.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question, okay?
She has very little tolerance for people who think I'm a pedophile. Like she thinks they're extremely stupid and is extremely uncharitable when she talks about them.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I told her like, don't comment on anything. Don't ever respond to any of this because first of all, you're gonna bring it on yourself and you're gonna make us both look bad. Don't be mean to people who hate me. Like, just stop.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
And she'll get dragged into the fights and it'll be really bad. Yeah.
It'll be really bad. But yeah, for the people who are like, what is she? Oh my God. Like, no, she thinks that you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what were you going to say?
So this is, okay. If there's ever, normally I send people a message beforehand, but I didn't do this with you. But normally I say like, if there's anything that you're uncomfortable chatting about, you can always like say like, hey, I don't want to talk about this particular thing or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I would tell you.
Okay. That's good. It seems like it. So you have a lot of content that you've worked on, right?
Yeah, I've got a backlog.
Are you cognizant of like if you had to peg like the quality of the stuff that you work on versus other people like your size of like YouTube subscribers and everything? Do you think you have like a feel for that? Like, do you feel like you generally put out like decently high level content, or it's like whatever?
Yeah, I would say the production value, thoughtfulness, I would say is probably excessively high given my size.
Okay, that's
my sense.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with that 100% in a very positive way, not in a bad way. Like your stuff looks really good. Everything that you post, like yeah. Do you have like a background in like film stuff or?
Yeah, a little bit, and then yeah. I've been editing and making short films and shit for a long time. And then I think a couple of years ago, I was just like, there's no reason why my channel shouldn't look amazing. Mm-hmm. Like I just decided like I want every single video I post to look like reasonably like as visually striking as I can with within reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody mentioned something in chat. The drone footage into your window. You had one of you like standing with your shirt over. Yeah. There's a lot of like really cool like yeah. Okay, I was just curious if you were cognizant of that because have you ever heard of imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah, because some people feel like, oh no, everything I do is horrible and shit and blah blah blah. I wasn't sure if you had like that mindset.
I have that with I think feeling like I have something worth saying. On some level, I'm deeply sure that I do,
mm-hmm.
and then on another level, I feel like when I'm talking to Vaush and he's pulling out these like big words, and it's like I know what they mean, but it doesn't occur to me to use them.
Mm-hmm.
that intimidates me. Or I'm like, I wish I read more. I should have read more books. I should still read more books. I'm halfway through 1984. I've been reading it for I've read a couple other books in the meantime, but I've been reading it for like a year or two. It's taking me forever.
Gotcha.
Those are that's where I feel more like it. But then like I'll like watch the debate back and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like, no, I was right. So I have mixed feelings about it, but yeah, that's I feel more insecure about that.
Okay, that's fair. Do you feel pretty confident in general?
I modeled nude at Olivia Wilde's baby shower.
Okay.
So sometimes.
The weird thing is that the amount of candidness you have would make me feel like the answer is yes, even outside of like the nude stuff. Like, you're very candid conversations about your relationship, about your shortcomings, for very personal things, and generally that's associated with like a very high amount of resiliency and confidence and self-esteem. Like a normal person would be
a large number of people can tell me I'm wrong about something, and kind of like what we were saying before. You were like, you're like, can your mind be changed by empirical evidence about gender? And I was like, to some degree, no. And like, so I do think there's a hard-headedness that can be confidence sometimes.
Sure. I guess it's interesting to me that you say that it feels like some people can make you feel dumb or are intimidating to you, because these other people probably wouldn't pose nude for Olivia Wilde's baby shower. Would be my
I bet Vaush, right. Yeah,
that's just an interesting dichotomy to me. Like,
I don't think Vaush would pose nude at a baby shower, but he's probably read 10 times as much as me in his life, I assume. He just comes across. But again, I mean, like, you know, that can also be faked. I don't know, but he seems to have a breadth of knowledge. And he was trying to steer me into that. He was like, okay, let's talk about World War II. And I'm like, how about not? Because I know you know more about it than I do. And and it's not my point anyway, but like, but that does make this voice in my head be like, well, maybe I shouldn't be talking about it until I've, you know, done more research.
Okay.
But then other times what is confidence?
In my opinion, confidence is having a level of self-assuredness that is independent of external validation. So basically, I feel a certain way about myself, and I don't really care what somebody else says about me. So if you were to call me stupid, I don't really care because I know I'm not stupid. And if a lot of people were to call me stupid, I wouldn't care because I know that I'm not stupid. I think that's when I say confidence, that's kind of what I'm looking for, is do you have a good, fixed, innate image of yourself that can stand against, I guess, like the screams of the external world trying to say otherwise.
Okay, so I think my confidence is more like a flexibility about my view of myself, where I don't think I'm stupid, but if somebody convinced me that I was stupid or about something or in a certain way, that would be okay.
Okay.
I think to me, there you can have like that rigid kind of confidence, but you can also have a kind of confidence where someone's like you're a pervert or you're a pedophile or whatever, and then you're like, well, yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, if your definition, like by your definition of pedophile that you gave, my cuties review means I'm a pedophile.
Okay.
And so I'm like, sure, okay. If then I guess I am a pedophile. Like that, if that's literally, if you stand by your definition that you had the other day when we talked, and you believe I meant what I said in my cuties review, and I did, then I guess I am. And so I feel like I have confidence there where like I don't really need to I don't feel a need to defend myself.
Yeah, okay, I understand, gotcha. So I guess like then to be a little bit even more pointed with that then, like let's say theoretically Vaush's community right now has a huge threat on you and they're going through your content and they're like, this guy is actually dog shit at film. Like I look to his stuff and it's like, it's just edgy. Like there's no artistic or redeeming value to any of this. He's just an N-word spammer that's trying to shock you, and everything on this channel reeks of pretentious 14-year-old wannabe big YouTuber who's watched too much like Andy Warhol or something. I don't know.
All right, I get your fucking point.
Well, no. So the question, like, would reading stuff like that bother you? Because this is so circling back to something I said a lot earlier in the conversation. I like walking into threads where people are just smashing me with personal insults because it makes it feel to me
because
like,
it brings a defensive self. Like loving response inside you that's like that's not true. Like, do you feel like you reassure yourself in response?
Okay, film.
That's nice.
You've seen The Dark Knight, right? Very good superhero movies, right? You remember when Batman is punching the Joker? Right?
Yeah.
And the Joker is laughing because Batman traditionally, his strength is his cunning, his strength is power, but the Joker's laughing.
I have some problems with The Dark Knight as a movie.
That's fine. We're not focusing on that.
But it's a very good scene. It's a very good scene. And
it's to illustrate that, like, to the Joker, somebody like the Batman is absolutely powerless in that. And that's what I feel.
There's
like.
Nothing to threaten me with.
Exactly. When people are like, oh, you're a shitty father, you abandon your kid, you're a cuck, you're whatever, you're a, like F-slur, whatever words, like people will throw things at me. It's like, you're only saying this because you actually can't counter anything I've said earlier. And it was really funny to me. And that's how I feel.
I saw somebody mention your kid on Twitter today, and I found it deeply upsetting.
Oh, well, don't be upset.
But I was.
Yeah. But to get off of, because I'm not trying to make this about me, I'm asking for you. I guess the question is just like, if people were saying something, is that okay for you? Are you like, okay, I don't care, like, fuck them? Or at some point, would you start to second guess, like, fuck, maybe my film shit is just like really pretentious. Like if I was born 10 years earlier and there were drones, I would have nothing cool. I'm like a loser. Like, would you ever feel that way? Or do you think you're a little bit invulnerable?
Yeah. I would feel that way.
Okay.
It would come and go, and I have other feelings, but it wouldn't change my view of myself, but it would stick in my head for sure. I would be, the next time I'm pulling out the drone, I would be like, oh, well, is this necessary? Do I need this? Yeah, that shit does stick in my head.
Okay. Just curious. Don't let it. But okay, I was just trying to get
How?
Self-confidence.
Just be confident. But I also think my sensitivity is one of my assets.
It's hard to balance that out. I can't give you good advice there because I'm a very cold person and it helps me, but I'd probably lose something for that. So
I think you should open your heart.
Well, I mean, I open it a little bit.
Maybe a little more.
I don't want people to make fun of me on the internet, though. So I'm just saying, like, in terms of like the way that I am. I understand what you're saying, though. Of course.
I'm too unprotective of myself, and maybe you're too protective of yourself.
There was a friend I had in therapy a long time ago, and she said that something that her therapist told her to do was to like write down a short list of people that you respect. Like, these are people that I look up to in my life or that I think are important in my life or whatever. And then the therapist told her, like, once you have that list, these are the only people's who can have opinions about you, negative or positive, that should influence how you feel about yourself. And if somebody doesn't make a short list for you respecting their opinion, then they shouldn't be able to have a damaging opinion about you because you shouldn't care about what their opinion is. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think that's a weird thing for a therapist to do.
Why?
It has a couple weird implications. One, it's fishing for compliments. Like, are you going to put me on your list? Patient?
Wait, how is it? No.
It puts the patient, it puts the client in a situation where the client has to decide whether they're going to put you on the list.
No, it's not about putting the idea. It's not you. How are you misreading this so much? The idea.
I'm not.
You are. Okay.
I'm not. No, you are.
No, you are. Okay. The idea is just supposed to be that. Like,
I know that's the idea, but don't you agree that if your therapist said make a list of people whose opinions you value, the first fucking thing you would think is like, well, do I have to put you on the list? And then you'd be like, why am I putting you on? Do I want to put you on the list? I kind of have to. Or I guess I could just
If you wanted
not.
to put your therapist on the list, that's probably fine. They're your therapist. They probably should be on your list. So that if you want to do that, that's probably A-okay.
I just think it's fishing for compliments.
Probably
Okay,
not.
the other thing is, you're telling people how they're supposed to feel. I think you go to therapy to find out how you do feel. You go into therapy saying, we already think we feel the way we're supposed to feel, and the therapist is supposed to help you figure out how you actually feel.
No, okay.
But
How you actually feel is like the first baby step. What you're really supposed to figure out is how to manage your feelings or respond to your feelings. That's like the goal, right?
I don't agree with you.
Okay, let's say that I feel really horrible every single time. What if I see a dog and I feel horrible every time I see a dog, right? The goal isn't probably to go to therapy and say like, I am really scared of dogs. And the therapist's like, yeah, congratulations. We've identified you're really scared of dogs. The goal is probably to give you the tools to overcome your fear of dogs or to have a less negative reaction to them, right?
I would say that's like a functional aspect of therapy. So like if you can't go to work because you're too scared of dogs, then yes, I agree with you. The first step is probably to manage that feeling. And like, so with extreme negative feelings and extreme symptoms, that makes sense.
Sure.
But if you are just uneasy around dogs, I would think it would make more sense to just open the floor and like try to figure out why you're feeling that, and even if you're feeling that.
Sure, but the goal generally when we try to figure why do we want to figure these out is usually so that we can modify them at some point, right?
I guess I just don't see it that way. I don't think you can. It would be nice
if about things.
I think how you feel about things can change, but I don't think that you can make that the goal because then you end up lying to yourself.
I don't think so. I think that there are ways that we can mark, like this is how we feel about a thing and we can change how we feel about it. I think that's an okay goal to have in therapy.
I don't think you can control how you feel.
Maybe not, but we can usually control we can control how we feel.
No.
But even if we say we can't, we can at least control how we respond to our feelings, right?
Yes, I agree with that, but I don't think we can control how we feel.
Well, I think the idea is that if you have a good understanding of how you respond to something, like the feeling you get, and then you keep changing the way that you react to it or your reaction to it, then I think the goal is that in time your feelings will start to change as well, right? Have you ever heard of CBT?
Cock and ball torture, yeah.
Have you ever heard of the other
No,
CBT?
yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, I think this is what I'm explaining more or less, right?
Yes, I'm against that.
You're against cognitive behavioral therapy.
I'm against cognitive. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying I think that it's limited in what it can do for you. I think it's like a shield.
Well, I mean, it depends probably on. It's
It
probably
depends
not
on your goal.
Yeah, if you're not able to live in the world because of negative responses you have to certain emotions, then changing those should probably be the goal of like any therapeutic program, right?
If you're not able to function, then becoming functional should be the goal.
Yeah, and a lot of the reasons why people go to therapy is because they are dysfunctional in some way, right?
Yeah, but I think you can also become more functional by understanding. Like, what if you're afraid of dogs because your stepfather killed your dog in front of you, but you don't think about that. You just think about how the dog's going to bite you or something. You just know you're scared, but you don't understand that you're scared that you're going to hurt the dog or that somebody else. You don't understand you're scared for the dog. You just think dogs scare you.
Okay.
And so if you're super non-functional, then they can get out a dog puppet and then have you write your feelings about it and get out a nice dog and make you pet the dog and feed the dog and have you make friends with a dog. And then eventually, through exposure and paying attention to how you react and seeing, okay, I don't have to run out of the room screaming. You can manage your relationship with dogs, but if you only do that, you may never reach that deeper understanding.
Yeah, there could be therapy doesn't have to be just one thing, sure. Like getting to have a better understanding of why you feel a certain way that's probably a worthy goal, maybe just not a good end. Because going to therapy just to figure out why you're traumatized by something probably isn't as valuable as also overcoming the trauma too, right? Or at least the trauma response.
Yes, but in the example we're talking about telling somebody to disregard all emotional inputs from anyone who isn't on this list, which to me seems necessarily delusional. Like you're telling the person to be delusional. I don't think it's
the issue. Yeah, so the issue, maybe I could have qualified this more. So the issue is my friend isn't there, but she's like a decent sized like streamer person, and the issue is dealing with negative response publicly. So especially if you're a girl, you'll get a lot of like, you're an ugly whore, you're a stupid bitch, like blah 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 blah. You get stuff like that, and it's really hard. Like in the example that I gave you earlier about Vaush's subreddit, it can be really hard not to take that to heart, especially on like a bad day. Like somebody might say something.
But it might be
right. So like I don't think that telling a person like that, you know, like, hey, you know, these are people's opinions that shouldn't matter much to you. Like if you don't respect them or you don't care about them intimately, like don't let their opinions affect you that much. I think that's an okay thing to say, right?
No.
No,
that's what we're arguing about. My position is it's not an okay thing to say.
So you should.
Your position is that it is.
So you think if Vaush's subreddit were all repeating all the things that I said earlier about your film stuff, that it's important for you to consider all of their opinions about? Well, it's the same thing.
You're very good at big cutting, by the way. That was a good string of insults.
I'm not trying. Wait, I'm sorry. I was just like picking random shit. I don't know if any of those. I don't know anything.
It's not
about
random.
film.
No, it's not random. You know how to sense somebody's weaknesses.
Okay, I was just saying things that came to mind. Okay, not that your content inspired those insults, but I'm thinking of like, well, what would hurt somebody that was doing film? Yeah, okay, so I picked them purposely.
what would hurt somebody?
I picked them purposely, but I don't mean that at you. But I'm just saying that like, if you read a bunch of that, it would probably be better for you to not really like. Those people aren't critiquing you from a place of good faith. They're not critiquing you from a place of knowledge. They're literally critiquing you from a place of like, I hate this motherfucker, and I want to say the meanest things I can to make him feel upset. Right? Like, is that feedback that you should invest a lot of emotional, like make a big emotional investment in understanding?
I don't know that I can control that. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well, but you absolutely can, right?
I don't think so.
If you start reading it, you have two options.
I can control whether I read it. I don't think I can control how deeply it hits me.
I think by thinking about it a lot, I think you can.
I fear that that's just disconnecting yourself from your feelings.
Well, this is what CBT is based on, right? The idea is that if I show you something enough,
I don't like it. That's what I'm fucking saying. Well, I don't like it.
Okay, go argue with a therapist. Okay, I'm not.
Okay.
But okay,
I probably will.
Yeah. I know a really good therapist on this platform you can argue with, actually. Anna Voir.
Oh yeah.
She's a psychologist person. Yeah, great, genius mind. Okay. If you ever get the chance. Wow. What?
Well, I would love to argue with a genius mind.
Yes. Okay.
And then I'll have imposter syndrome.
Wait, are we not supposed to talk about her anymore? Oh, maybe sorry. It's a person that is involved with me. Never mind. Not involved with me. Anyway, where were we at on this?
I think you were telling me to protect myself in the ways that you protect yourself, and I said no.
Because you want to just self-destruct. That's your goal.
No. If the world wants to crush me, then it shall. I don't want that to happen, but I don't want to beg it not to.
Yeah.
I don't want to compromise on certain things. On certain things I do want to compromise. Like nudity on the channel. I'm fine. I don't need to do that. Like if YouTube says they don't want, you know what it is? I'm fine with following TOS. What I cannot stand is not doing things that don't break TOS because I'm afraid I'm going to get banned anyway. So I'm like, if you're going to flag me just cuz you don't like me or cuz I make you uncomfortable, and YouTube is going to capitulate to the pressure and remove me, and not, whoever reviews it is going to be like, yeah, he didn't break TOS, but fuck this guy. Mm-hmm. Then fuck you. Then fine. That's what I don't want to capitulate to. Whatever the rules are, I will play by the rules. And same thing with like getting arrested. Like in college, you're allowed to say we should empathize with mass shooters. You're allowed to say I don't like fluorescent lights. You're allowed to say I think you guys are lying when you say you can't empathize with mass shooters. Mm-hmm. Those are all legally protected. The government cannot arrest you and put you in jail overnight. Now, obviously, they can arrest you and charge you with a crime, but that's not. They're breaking the rules, not me. And so I think that's where I feel very uncompromising.
Okay.
Like whatever the rules are that we're agreeing to, I want to follow those. But
The written
I don't like
rules,
cheating.
the explicit ones, not the implicit
Yeah,
ones.
no cheating.
Okay.
And reporting my website is cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't actually think there's anything illegal on my website.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a ton of friends also.
By choice or?
I had a big falling out with my friend group from middle school, really.
Why?
Um,
Wait, in middle school or like in college friends from middle school?
more recently, when I was 30.
Okay. Wow.
I got divorced and I lost most of my friends and stopped talking to both of my parents. Or I'd already stopped talking to my mother, but I stopped talking to my father too.
Are your parents split or together?
They're split.
Okay. Did they all like your ex-wife a lot more, or was this like a shared friend group and then they all had to choose sides, or?
No, they hated her.
So why did the divorce trigger the friendship group breaking off?
I triggered all of them simultaneously by telling everybody that I have to start talking about my feelings.
You triggered everybody.
This is my narrative. This is clearly not their narrative.
Sure, okay.
But I was very much a people pleaser and held my feelings in and would just deal with things by joking and then sometimes making like passive aggressive or often underhanded comments or jokes. But I was never vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these relationships were built on this foundation of me
being a footstool.
Kind of understanding me what?
Being a footstool, right? Letting people walk all over you, or not like actually stating like this is what Max wants or whatever, and then just kind of like being passive aggressive about it, but just so much that people kind of knew, but not enough to actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And being in the role of like understanding people's feelings and talking about their feelings, but never insisting that they listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So then at some point I was just like, oh, I want to die. I hate my life and I have to stop doing this. And it made like everything collapse pretty quickly.
Okay.
So I have a few good friends and I've got Shaylin, but I think I could probably make friends, you know, if my career does well.
Okay.
I think I could probably make friends who don't care or know about it. I think that's what I would do. Like if I were like Logan Paul or something.
Uh-huh.
There's still a lot of people who don't know who Logan Paul is.
Maybe if you go to like, you know, some really desolate African village or something, but I feel like most people in the world at this point. Well, actually, young people. Maybe not.
I think they're older people. Maybe
older people
5 years older.
Mm-hmm.
5 years older who are just like.
Like in their 40s and 50s have no idea.
Yeah, I graduated law school and I'm, you know, working at this new firm and I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I feel like, you know, I would. I always think about this with Eminem, like when he talks about how hard it is to date. I'm like, I know everybody knows who he is at this point, but like, there's probably people who don't care.
Sure.
And I feel like what you were saying earlier about the YouTubers, all their new best friends are all other huge YouTubers. I would think it would be better to just be friends with people who just don't care.
Yeah, if you can find them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That can be difficult sometimes, but.
Is that what you do?
I'm not a big friend person. I don't really care that much. I just have a few friends, and then my wonderful wife, and then I play games and I do online stuff. But I'm okay being kind of like pretty on my own. That's kind of like an okay arrangement for me. I'm fine with that.
You're a lone wolf.
Yeah, but I enjoy that aspect of existence. Yeah.
I'm a people person.
Without many friends.
Yeah, I've driven everybody away. Well, the problem was I just agreed. I set up relationships that were not actually going to work for me.
Do you have any way to meet people now? Well, let's back up.
Oh,
do you want more friends?
Yes.
What kind of friends? Like people that you can shoot the shit with online, people that you can go like bouldering with, people that want to watch a movie with you.
I think both. I think I need less close friends and more close friends. But yeah, with the pandemic, I still don't like go inside with people, but we can do other activities and stuff. I have to go in 3 minutes because I have to train my personal training client.
No problem. What are you training them in?
Just a variety of lifts.
Are they like bodybuilder, power lifter, cardio bunny? What?
No, I would say just general fitness and health. I don't want to get too detailed, but
okay, that's good. Is this person a friend? You said that you told all your clients everything
about
you.
You can't be friend. Yeah.
But this person stuck by you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they all did. I've never lost a client because of my online activities. Actually.
I thought you said everybody left but one person or whatever. I thought you said.
Oh no. That's just COVID. COVID just closed the gym I worked at, and then I left LA.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I used to live in LA, and then only one person was like, "Let's keep training online." Everybody else was like, "I'm just gonna stop or find somebody else," or
Okay, significantly different.
So this is my last remaining client, but yeah, all my other like you're saying with the close friend thing, like, if you've been training with somebody for 2 years and you know them pretty well, and they're like, "Hey, everybody thinks I'm a pedophile because of this movie review I made," their reaction was just like, "Oh Jesus, what did you say? Let me watch the review," and they're like, "Well, I can understand why they came off, but I get what you're saying. I think it's a good video." Blah blah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, you have any final words of wisdom for me before I trudge one more step toward
not really.
The end.
Good luck. Be careful. If you ever want to chat, hit me up. Let me know. Yeah, I think you're an interesting person to talk to. Otherwise, yeah, good luck. Be careful. We'll be.
Well, of course I'm gonna hit you up. I like you.